Hello, and welcome to my PLO night. I'm Kyyberi, this is PokerMania.com, and today we're going to play PLO10, maybe some PLO4 on micro gaming. Let's see what kind of tables we have here. Okay. Oh, all the PLO10 tables are full and we don't have a waiting list, so I'm going to sit in PLO4 table while we wait for PLO10 seats to be open. I don't remember. Can we sit here? Oh, we were auto-seated. Well, doesn't matter. I can't remember any topics that I have promised to talk about, so if you have any topics in your mind about PLO poker, life, hamsters, whatever, just feel free to use the chat. Let's see if we can... There aren't even any PLO4 tables open. Wow, the traffic is really bad. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going to start a new table here. Let's see if we can get any action. I'm just going to fold that crap. So this is the... Oh, now we have a stop spot. Here, bada bing, bada boom. And now we have to wait for another PLO10 table. I'm paying attention. I'm going to open one PLO4 while waiting. What kind of openings we have? I don't know. I'm going to isolate the limper. Although our hand is pretty bad, but... Well, the isolation didn't work with one call. And let's hope we hit the nuts. Well, not really. We have the middle set, but we block our full house out. Archipucci is... I'm going to bet. Because he's marked green, he's going to call with a wide range of hands. And he min raises, so probably has us beat, but we have huge odds for drawing, so... Let's just call. And now he gives us free river. Why not? We hit the straight, but not the flush. And now he pots. It really looks like a nut flush or something better. So I'm just going to fold. Yo, 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 and good evening. There are 2 PLO10 tables, but no free seats, and we don't have any waiting lists, which kind of sucks. How old is the hamster? He's 2.5 years old. The expected lifetime was 1 to 2 years, so he's on overtime. He just doesn't know it. He almost died, but... Now he's back in life. He eats almost everything. I give him beef sometimes. Maybe that's why he has lived so long. But other than that, he eats hamster food. Impact Point is asking that when starting new tables, do you find that reps don't join that much? Yeah, often when you start a new table, the fishes come there. That's what happens most of the time. Here we open basically just to steal the blind, maybe with the c-bet, but now we actually hit the flop, so we can start value betting. Since it's blank, it doesn't change the board, so I'm betting bigger in case he has ace-5 kind of hand. And when he checks the turn, I don't think he ever has a straight, so he probably has ace-5, ace-jack type of hand, so I'm going to bet the river. And he folds. Not sure what he had. Now we get a spot on PLO10, so I'm going to close this PLO4. Oh, we didn't get a seat. Oh crap. So I'm not going to close it. 3, 3, 4, 5. Just going to fold. I don't know why my HUD isn't working. Oh, it's creating the duplicates once again. I just hate my poker tracker. And here we are sitting out. Now we can 3-bet. I'm going to call once. Of course, now it's get interesting. I'm going to check back and let him bluff the river in case he doesn't have aces. But when he checks the turn, it looks like he has aces. And now let's make a small bet. And he probably has ace. But we don't. No, because we don't have the HUD. He had ace, queen, jack. So just an ace. Ace, queen. Call my river bet. Small 3-bet on table 1. Oh, there's so much action going on. Hard to multi-table when the software isn't as good as PokerStars or Full Tilt. I'm going to answer the impact point in just a second, as soon as I can close this one table so I can move all the tables to one screen. Open call, king queen 10 with the suit. The problem is that we block pretty much all the smaller flushes that can give us value if we hit our flush. So I don't want to play multi-way pot with this hand. Of course the flop would be pretty nice, but in the long run it's really hard to make money. Now I'm going to call on this guy and we flop big draw in a try flop. Probably going to call down. I don't think he has a full house often. Actually 1.3 behind. If he has aces, he's going to call me anyway. And he folds. Wow. Wow. At some point the HUD will start working, but I have no idea. My poker tracker here is making duplicates. And earlier Arnimetsa said that it's because I don't stop getting hands before I close it. I have stopped every time, but it creates duplicates even by that. What's going on? Here on PLO4, we 3-bet aces. We are out of position, but I assume we are going to make money out of these guys. Here on table 2, we flop this cut shot with the flush draw, with the backdoor stuff, and he mean bets. I'm going to just call. And let's see if we can check raise the flop. I mean the turn. Or we can just call the turn if he bets big. And he just checks back. How do we get most value? When he checks back the turn, he might have a showdown hand, so I can bet the river and represent the missed flush draw. So if he has like an overpair, he's going to call me always. Of course, when there's a straight possibility on the flop, I might have a set or two pairs on the flop. Here, Archibald donks, he calls, we have overpair with the flush draw. Against two pairs we are flipping, against set we are drawing. I'm just going to call. Hope to see 6 on the turn, or blank. Now we take it to the river. Archibald donks 3 out of 13. Now the question, would he donk a set or can he donk something else? Not sure how good he is, but he has been pretty aggressive. So I know he's aggressive post-flop. So I think I have to call this. And he had King Jack 9. So he had 2 pairs on the flop while runner and a full house. Yeah. But I know that he is capable of bluffing that river when he thinks no one has a full house if he has a missed draw. Oh, we were supposed to close this one. Sorry. Just a second. So Impact Point was asking what's my honest opinion on Omaha software like PLO Ranger and Omaha Indicator. I actually haven't tried either one of those. If I remember right now, correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, here on table 1, I mislooked my hand because there was the heart. I thought it was Ace King 10 Jack, which I think is okay to open because we have such a loose players behind us. But it's Ace King 10 5, so it's crap. It definitely should have been folded. Sorry for that. So I think PLO Ranger, if I remember right, I might be mistaken in it to some other software, but isn't it some kind of software that you can practice on equity estimations or something? Like you give a hand versus range or hand versus hand and you can estimate your equity and it shows it or something like that. Not sure. But any of those learning softwares, none of those softwares, at least I haven't found any, that does something else or something that cannot be done with the free softwares. If they are free, then of course you can use. There's probably no harm. But if you have to pay for the software often doesn't do anything that you couldn't do with the free softwares, like Poker Juice, kind of expensive software, and it doesn't do 122. I'm going to call him. Oh, now he has the set. Wow. I really thought that he can show a lot of flush draws, a lot of jack x6 hands, and I would have the required equity, but now he had a set. Like poker choose, it does a lot of things, but all the same calculations you can do with the notepad and any equity calculator. But if you do something that poker choose does in 2 minutes, it might take 2 hours with just the notepad. So with the other softwares, you have to think how much it saves my time. Here on table 4, we open donk jump 3 bets. We missed the flop, so we just fold. So I don't know what Omaha indicator does. If you can explain it to me in short, then I can give you my opinion. PL Ranger gives what range your hand is pre-flop. If it does, wow, well, you can do that by Pro Poker Tools. Not sure if it's free. And the thing is that since I don't know what day, probably since internet was invented and there was a quick way to share information, people have been wanting simple explanations and simple guidelines. Like in PLO, people have been asking for pre-flop hand charts. What do I open in PLO? Because they don't know what hand is good and what hand is not. And table 177 Jack 10. When we have the other guy who's going to call, I think we can call this one. It's awfully close. Here the short is shoves. We have top pair, top kicker, we call, and he has bottom 2 pairs this time. Let's see if we can suck out. No, we don't. He has a full house again. So he is crushing on us. Wow. We really don't have a lot to improve, but we have to pay 50 cents into pot of 4. If we think jacks, 10s and 7s are our outs, then we have 9 outs, 1 out of 5 times. I think we really have to call. But we don't hit anything, so people have been asking for, wow, we had only a pair of 3s. People have been asking about simple ways to tell them what hands to open, and one good example is Hutchinson point system. Some of you might have heard it. It basically, you can give points to your PLO hand, and the more points you have, the stronger the hand is. Now, Hutchinson point system or any other point system doesn't work in 6-max. Because the problem is that on some situations, some hands are good in multi-way pots, they are stronger, but in a heads-up pot, some other hands might be stronger. And some of the time, even bad aces is a really strong hand. You want to have bad aces. On other spots, bad aces is the hand you don't want to have. So it always depends on the situation. And now the same problem is that with PLO Ranger, if you think that, okay, I'm going to open my top 15% of hands from middle position or under the gun, and then you go to PLO Ranger and see what hands are in top 15%, then the problem is that you might make some bad openings, or you might fold some hands that might actually work well, because it depends what kind of table you have. From under the gun it doesn't really matter, but from cutoff button you shouldn't just open like top 60% or something. Always see the situations. There are situations where we open any 4. There are situations where we open actually with only 20-25% from the button. Like if there's aggressive players on the blind. Yeah, Hutchinson point system, don't use it. It doesn't consider anything about if it's multi-way or not. Do you want to 3-bet the hand or not? What kind of opponents you have behind or ahead of you. Here Dark Jam makes a small 3-bet. 250 we would have SPR over 2. I'm just going to call. And probably on this flop I'm going to get it in. When he checks, he shouldn't have anything strong. He's really a strange player. And not sure if I want to check call him. And he has the backdoor as well. He's really hitting the hand today. Like there he has only pair of 7s on the flop and makes a backdoor flush draw when it's a really good bluff spot for him. Here 86-0 guy shoves the river when the straight completes and the flush completes, and he called my turn bet, so I'm just going to fold. This Dog Champ, nice nickname for him, is really crushing me today. Here we pick up the backdoor flush draw, so I'm just going to pot the turn. Someone might have jack 10, but we have a lot of equity. We have the cut shot overpair and the flush draw. So let's see what happens here. And we have river 2 pairs and flop set that this Finnish guy slow plays. Wow, I think we had a lot of equity on the turn. Yeah, 31% on the turn. Wow. Slow played a flop set. I'm going to make a note. Four-way short, something like that. $71-0, 89-26. Wow, these players are kind of nice. Here we flop the wrap and the flush draw. Yeah, if either one of these softwares cost any money, don't spend it on those. Just save your pennies. We don't have any showdown value, so I'm betting the river against this donkey. And he had full house. Wow, he calls my... Jesus Christ. He calls my flop bet with ace 3 and makes a runner full house. Oh my god. And now he's just sitting there with my money. Here this guy is 24-0, so I'm going to barrel the turn. Should have some folding equity, and if he calls we have the cut shot and the flush draw, and he folds. Wow, this guy, well, 52 hands haven't folded to c-bet ever. And making runner nuts 4 times now. Or hit the nuts on the flop. PLO is easy. But against this guy I'm probably c-betting only for value and with a really big bet sizing. In my mind, instead of learning like top 15% of the hands or using point system to figure out if your hand is strong or not, I would say that you should learn what makes a good PLO hand and not. What kind of stuff makes the PLO hand a good one, what makes a bad PLO hand, both in heads-up pots, multi-way pots and so on, so you can estimate every situation as individual situation. Here we flop 13 out of wrap. Even when we take away the flush out, we still have enough to call. And I know this soul sweep. Yeah, he probably has a set there. Now the question is, do we have the equity? If he calls, we definitely have the equity. If we can't really get any implied odds with the spades, then I think we have something like 9 outs, which means that we will hit the straight 1 out of 5 times. We need to win a pot of over 20 euros. And after call, the pot would be 13 and something, so if we get his whole stack, it's marginally profitable. So I'm just folding. On table 1, 2 aces on the board and 3 players on the flop and 2 fishes, probably not folding a lot. Now we pick up the cut shot on the turn. With 4 cents we can call with the cut shot. In PLO tournaments, shove range, well, now that's an interesting question. The thing is that if you make a PLO shove range pre-flop, like if someone opens and you shove, of course when you have aces or kings you are probably slightly ahead, but anything below aces or kings you are flipping against any reasonable range, so you almost always have 50% range. So the next thing to consider is if the pot is going to be heads up or multi-way. So if it's going to be multi-way, then you just need to have a hand that hits the nuts more often. And Dark Champ is just crushing me. And here Archipurchi, again he has a flop set and he's low plays it to a really scary board. So probably not going to bluff him either. Yeah, Marcos can save your penis too. So Archipurchi and Don Champ doesn't really like to fold. Like Archipurchi VPIP 73 and folds to c-bet 17%. So Wow. The thing is that against these players we should just print money, but of course it's hard if you play against his range, and today he hits everything. Like here he started with €1 or something. Opening a lot of hands that can make dominated hits against these guys. If you had ace, 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 queen, would I get it all in every time? Because it means my opponent doesn't have aces. Which means that... Oh, I'm actually going to c-bet this one. If my opponent doesn't have aces, I'm ahead. Because often you will see that against ranges pre-flop, ace, 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 queen often has pretty much the same equity as ace, ace, queen. Here he dunks the flop with air. Wow. And here donks some shoves. Well, I'm going to get out of the way. Wow. Top pair and flush draw. And he makes 3. Oh, Jesus Christ. These guys are so fun. My. Really tight player opened. I'm going to call. And he just checks fold. Ace is on table 2, and now the fold. Why? Why do you fold now? Oh, let's see if we opened 125.90 cents. He calls 90. Yeah, I think we can 3-bet, because if he shoves, it opens another betting round. So what happens if he calls and he shoves, it's perfect. But he probably, yeah, he doesn't shove. Bummer. We have SPR2, probably bet folding against this guy. And he folds, so it's an easy. Easy peasy. In PLO tournaments, if you open 3 BBs with 10 BB stack and someone shoves, then you probably just have to get it in. Because then you only need 40% or something, or it would be even less. Yeah, 40%. There aren't antes in PLO tournaments. And unless you have a really bad hand, you get 30-40% against any range. So I would say it's just, if you have 10 BB stack, just open pot and get it in. If someone is, you have to gamble. But it often depends on how much you have folding equity. Now we get a 3-bet for a pot. Oh, he's shorty, I'm going to fold. He has lost. Where did his stack go? Wow. Leaves queens and calls the flop. Yeah. Because it depends. If you think that you have folding equity, like there are other short stacks or really tight players behind you, then you can open slightly more because you have folding equity. but I'm going to get it in against Donk Champ. We have ace and pocket queens, so unless he has aces or queens, we are in a pretty good shape, and we are sort of crushing him. Unless he makes the flush. No. But if there are like big stacks with high VPIP behind you, you have to open only for value. You can't open any crappy hands. On table 1, I barrel the turn, we have the 2 pairs, and we pick up the cut shot, and I think I'm going to value bet against him. Probably raises me now. Oh, he calls and folds, so it worked. He had pocket jacks. Oh, he had king too. Yeah. Here I'm going to bet. We have pair and flush draw and a cut shot, so definitely enough to bet against Archipurchi. Here on table 4 we make the nuts on the turn, but another Finnish player just folds. Donk Champ lives at his mom's house. Oh, I love that guy. Oh, he went broke here. PLO tournament is actually, it's funny thing. I think when I first did a video or coaching or any sort of material about PLO tournament, it's 2 years ago or something like that, might be even more, and there wasn't anything on the internet. And now if you go to Google or try to find any strategical, how do you pronounce it? PLO tournament strategy. Any material for PLO tournaments, there isn't any. Like, what kind of hands we shove 10 BBs without any folding equity or something like that, or what is a good approach to PLO tournaments, how to implement ICM to PLO tournaments, and so on. There isn't any. Pretty much the only advice is some really rough writing somewhere that play tight, wait for the nuts, or something like that. So if someone really puts focus into PLO tournaments and really makes these kind of calculations and constructs some ranges or figures out, of course in the beginning, if there's a lot of loose players, you need to play tight, wait, but when do you increase the aggression and so on. And even the ICM is kind of hard to implement because all the hands are pretty much 50-50 pre-flop. So if you do all the work, you could make a lot of profit in PLO tournaments. Because most of the players that play PLO tournaments aren't really good at those. Oh, we make the nuts with the redraws here on table 2. Hope he calls. No. Because often the people who are really good in PLO doesn't like to play tournaments. Because they want to play the cash games. And those who play Hold'em tournaments don't really understand how PLO tournaments are different. Three pairs. If he checks, I'm going to check back. Let's see if we can hit some of our outs. And he had a queen high flush and he doesn't value bet it. I'm going to make a note out of that. There are some notes in Finnish, but when I'm hosting English PLO, I'm making all the notes in English. And actually sometimes when I make the notes myself, sometimes I use English, because some of the things are easier to say in short with English. So actually sometimes I have notes both in English and Finnish. Here we have the full house on the turn. So against Archipurchi I'm making a big bet on the river. Because if he has anything he's going to call me anyway. Here we are playing heads up against tight player. That isn't profitable. Because we don't get a lot of value from the tight player. And the rate is really high in heads up because it's full rate. So I'm not going to play heads up against tight player. Our edge isn't that big against tight players. Yeah, we can steal a lot of blinds, but once we get a big board, it's often flipping or behind, and we lose so much by rate. So let's see if we have any other PLO10 tables open. There's actually one. I'm going to go there. I'm going to keep this deep PLO4 because we might have interesting. We are almost 300 BPs deep here with one other player, so we might have interesting deep stack situations. In PLO tournaments, the biggest difference is with these 10 BB stacks, because in Hold'em you can shove pre-flop, or if you have 15 BB stack, someone opens, you can shove and do that even as a semi-bluff or pure bluff. So that's first thing, because in PLO, if someone opens and you shove 10 BB stack, they shouldn't fold almost ever, because they just hit the odds. So you cannot 3-bet as a bluff. And it's a pot limit, so if you have 10 BBs and someone opens 2 BBs, then you cannot shove on them. You can shove re-raise to 6 or 6.5, which even reduces your value for the raise, because you have to go all in on almost any flop, especially out of position, and the opponent can decide if he calls or not. Impact Point says that it doesn't seem to be, at least, very HUD-based game. Do you mean tournaments or the cash games? Because in cash games, it is very HUD-based, but the way I use HUD is to give an overall idea. That's the biggest thing with the HUDs. With all of these stats, I create sort of player profile in my head. So I try to get an idea, what does the player think? Pre-flop stats give some clue, post-flop stats give some clues, and with all those little pieces I create a puzzle. How does he play? Of course there are some stats that we can use right away. But here, on some of the players, we don't have a lot of hands. So there's not much we can do. Here we have the nut blocker against this guy. Oh, this is going... I'm actually going to... well, I'm going to make a half a pot c-bet, and he shouldn't be raising often. He might raise me as a bluff, because he's probably one of the best players here after me. I know this guy. Doesn't let me to fold my hand. Oh, we actually made the flush. Of course we're going to bet it on the river. If he has a straight, he's going to call me anyway. Yeah, it's a hard based, but the big difference between PLO and Hold'em is that often in Hold'em, like if a player opens certain amount of hands, it's really often the top percentage of the hand. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't played Hold'em in many years that much, but like if someone opens 20% from position, it's often top 20%, or at least it's top 15 and bottom 5 or whatever he wants to do. But then you can construct the hand range. But in PLO, if I say that opponent opens 20% of the hands on one position, what is his range? It's not the top percentage. It's not top 20. Or if someone 3-bets 7% of times, what is his 3-bet range? And we have two players, player A and player B. They both might have 3-bet of 7%, but their ranges are totally different. And that's a hard part in PLO. I'm going to call this min bet. We have two pairs. And he has a straight and he value bets on the river. Well, he got the value. Good for him. Yeah, the hard part seems to be rather big issue. Well, if you don't understand your HUD, then your HUD is too big. Then make a smaller HUD. You don't have to have a HUD of this big. This HUD is the process of 2-3 years probably. Sometimes there has been a lot of different stats. Now this is the stats I'm using, but it has evolved over time. If I sometimes find out that there's some stat that I don't really use at all, then I remove the stat and just replace it with something other that I would have found useful many times. So if you are not familiar with the HUD, you can start with the really simple VPIP preflop raise 3-bet. Just use those to get an overall idea of the player. Wow. I'm going to c-bet this one. He folds 56% of time. He folds often. And when he calls, yeah, he might have something. If he has two pairs, we have a lot of equity. We can check back. Oh, he had a set. Of course, he's not folding. Then we have a monster. Really premium hand. Ace, Jack 10 double suited is probably the best hand in PLO. Ace, King double suited is also the best hand. We have two of the best hands. Profiling, yeah, that's a good term. Oh, Archibald is beating me probably here. Yeah, I use profiling, but then there's like Archibald, he's a real good example. Now I have almost 100 hands on him. He's playing 71 and 5, so he's a huge calling station preflop. Doesn't fold to c-bets, so you might think that okay, he's a passive calling station as his preflop stats are. Now the funny part is that his postflop aggressions are pretty much higher than mine, 40-40-40, which means that he's a really aggressive postflop. Of course, he makes some of those with the min bets, so he increases his stats. I don't know what his thing is that. When the sample size goes higher and his postflop aggressions are like river aggression 12 out of 28, means that he's probably bluffing a lot of rivers, wins only 33%. So he might be a player that weighs a lot of hands passively pre-flop and then uses aggression post-flop. And I don't know about this player. Of course, he has lost a lot. $15 in PLO4. And in PLO10, of course, more sample size. Break even. But there's this one guy, can't remember his name, that played high stakes, almost with same kind of stats. His VPIP was 80 or something, and when I saw his stats, I was like, "Yo, what a fish!" But actually, he is one of the biggest winners in his stakes, and he just owned people post-flop. And I have wondered with this guy earlier that does he do this on purpose and tries to outplay people post-flop, or is he just a fish that wants to get aggressive post-flop or overplays his hands, or what is his thing? But he's an interesting player for sure. Yeah, of course, they aren't holding 7732, but this is the thing that in PLO you don't have to, or you cannot put people on exact range. We are talking about, I don't know if board coverage is the right term. It means that if your range is good and balanced, you can hit any board hard. Here I'm going to isolate this with this hand. We 3-bet to isolate him. And we flop a funny hit. We have a cut shot only. So I'm going to make a c-bet. If he raises, he has us beat, but he's just going to fold so often here. So if we're talking about board coverage, like if your 3-bet is 5%, and it includes premium aces, double suited rundowns on queen to 9 or jack to 8, and double pairs, it means that you can hit any flop hard. You can have nuts on almost any flop. And that's the important thing. If your 3-bet range is aces and kings, it means that if the board is deuce, deuce, 4, you probably don't have full house that often. But as soon as you have pocket 4s in your 3-bet range, you can hit any board hard. And I actually talked with a few higher stakes, mid stakes and high stakes players on Skype about the blind defense. And we found out that when the opponent opens from the button over 20 or 25%, so his range gets wider, it doesn't really matter if he opens 25% or 80%. He's still going to hit a lot of flops. As in Hold'em, it changes your game plan a lot if the opponent opens 25% from the button or 80% from the button. But in PLO, when he opens 25 or more, he can hit any board. Our flop equity against his range doesn't really change if we give him 25 or 60% range. Here on table 4, dumb user, 3 bets, 1 cold call. Tempest is going to call, so we are going to call 2. And on this flop, there's no reason to overplay our hand. We don't get a lot of value. And against this one, I'm getting in. If he has higher flush, then it's a setup. And he does, so kind of sucks. But flush versus flush in 3-bet pot with 100 BP stack, you are going to get it in against 1 people every time. What did he have? Did he have? Ace, queen, queen. So he 3-bet queens. I don't really like that. Here I'm folding because he's a shorty and our hand isn't that good. And I'm going to close this PLO4. Well, probably not. Because neither one of them is actually a good player and we are deep. Of course, when there are passive waves, it's hard to get big pots, but let's see. On table 2 I'm completing pocket 9s for half a BB. He's a green one, BBIB 86. And he has 3-bet kings so far. I'm just going to call. And then we go to showdown. And he has kings again. Well, it doesn't make difference. If he has 2 pairs or set somehow or straight, he would have only $2 or something like that behind, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I had a 9 high flush or 8 high flush, whichever it was. We don't achieve anything by just calling. Because he's probably going to shove any turn. Here we see, but oh, what a calling station. Turn completes a lot of stuff. 2 pairs straight. So I'm going to check back. And river is even worse. So he probably wins the pot, yeah. 2 pairs on the turn. But when we were ahead, we got money in the pot, and when we were behind, we didn't put any money in the pot, so it's all good. Well, if we call, we also have two euros behind. So if this fish there, who was in the hand, it wasn't this one, I think. If he shoves, he might even have set or something like that. So it's kind of nasty because we have so little behind. Here he raises. We have 13 outs to the nuts, so I'm definitely calling. And 13 outs gives something around 30% equity or so. And we have 6.5, so when the board doesn't pair on the turn, we can get it in when he shoves. He should shove. Yeah, and now we just see if we hit our hand. And we don't. Another flip lost. Oh, we had only 19%. Because there was a set and flush draw, which blocks a lot of our outs. And they had aces and all kind of stuff in their hands, so session hasn't been going very well. I think we're down 3 or 4 buy-ins, but we still have our to make more money. Here I'm going to bet on table 1, because no one bet the flop. They shouldn't have a lot in their hands. And we have the second pair and the cut shot. And Fajanko has been folding pretty honestly. And now he draws, so if he goes a turn, he's going to go the river if he has like pocket jacks. I don't think he's going to fold the river that often. Maybe jacks is the only hand that we can't get him to fold. And now we just wait. Tempest is a nice customer. Yeah, bad aces are problem, and that's the difference. I've always said that when hold'em players come to PLO and you get aces 1 out of 40 hands, it means that like with 4 tables you get every other orbit and aces on some of the tables, so you get a lot of aces. 4 table you get aces like 1 out of 5 minutes, 1 out of 4 minutes. So they are really happy that yes, aces, I get aces. And when you have played PLO enough, every time when you are dealt bad aces, you are like, oh crap, here we go. Have to open pre-flop, problems post-flop. Aces are easy to play pre-flop, nightmare to post-flop. But when you realize that with aces you are often making small profit, and it means that often you're going to play a lot of big pots, and if your edge is small and you often play big pots, it means that you are going to win and lose a lot of pots. Like if your edge is small and out of the big pots you win 55% of the pots and lose 45%, it means that you are almost flipping, you are winning or losing almost every other time. Slightly more on the winning side. But sometimes when people get dealt aces, they think that they are entitled to win. Like, I have aces, I'm supposed to win this hand. And that creates problems. On pre-flop here, I have this idea in my mind that I'm going to win this hand. If I don't, it's a setup, it's suck out, it's a bad beat. And with aces, you are probably going to lose more pots than you're going to win. On table 1, I decided to check back with 2 pairs and a cut shot, open-ender. Here on table 4, we get a free third and hit our straight. We have the flush draw, we have jacks blockers, so I'm betting big just to get value from flush draws, 2 pair sets, or whatever they are calling me with. And he checks the river. Hasn't won any showdown yet, so I'm making value bet. And he calls again, and he has 2 pairs. Wow. I'm going to make a note that he doesn't fold 2 pairs on the river against my really obvious straight. Here on table 1 we make the flush, but we have full house with 8. There's no reason to bet. He's not folding any higher pocket pair, and he's probably not calling with any smaller pocket pairs. So it's kind of a situation where we often have the best hand, but it's really hard to get value unless someone is bad enough to call with the flush there. CC is asking, do I like to play against BB in small blind? If the big blind is a good player, no. I'm probably folding everything but the premium of the premium hands. Because out of position against good player, if the stacks are 100 PP or more, it's going to be a nightmare. Even if you flop the nuts, it's going to be a nightmare to get value for them. But if the big blind is bad player in any way, oh, he don't have a pot. I'm going to call 1 street. There are a lot of turns that he will check and we go to showdown cheaply, or clubs is good for me. 4 is actually decent for me, it gives me some more equity. And he donks a lot, which is might be 6 out of 22 times. Might be that he's donking every strong hand. I need to call. Probably shows me queen 10. Oh, he has set this time. What? Funny bet sizing. So yeah, playing against big blind, it really depends what kind of opponent, but against almost anyone, out of position sucks. The only opponent that position doesn't really matter against is these high VPIP passive players. Like we had the Finnish, I can't even remember his name, but he was like 79 and 5 type of player. If he was passive post flop, like here, these caddies, 95-10, not much aggression on the flop. Probably with the bigger sample size, not on the turn or river. It means that against those players, they are not going to bet without a made hand. And you can just choose when you want to value bet. So against these really passive calling stations, it doesn't matter if you are in position or out of position. Because it just doesn't matter. They always check and you always bet when you have a strong hand. Here on demo 3 I fold against Soul Sweeps, UTG Open. There's a lot of strong hands and I have Ace King 10 of the same suit, so I block the second nut flush and I eat one of my flush draw outs. And once again we wait, and we wait, and we wait. Funny session, we haven't won any 200 PP pot yet. But maybe we will. All we need is good hands. I'm going to isolate the limper. Not the strongest hand, but against this guy we can definitely play through our high card value. And I'm going to flop, see, but I have top 2, but I don't think neither one of them is going to check raise me as a bluff. But when he calls now, we probably just check back. And when he bets the river, it's really hard to find him a hand that doesn't beat us. So I'm just going to fold. Tempest folds a lot. I'm going to make a small barrel on the turn if he has a flush draw, and he folds it, which is nice. Demo 3, the guy calls me on the flop, so I'm just checking. I'm not barreling him. But somehow we win the pot, which is strange. Does he have Jack 9? No, he has just the top pair with the straight draw. Wow. And then before I'm making my c-bet with the wrap. And Hasaya B calls. I'm going to, now when I hit my straight, I'm going to get some value from him. Oh, he might have. Now the thing is that, does he have the full house or does he have the trips? I think he has trips in his range, so I have to call. And he made the full house on the river, but I think he would have shoved a lot of his trip hands. And here's the slow played aces. My, one of those days. When nothing seems to work. And now we are waiting once more. Ace, King, Jack, 8. Yeah, I'm going to open. When you have Ace, King of same suit, it hurts your hand, but here we have quite bad players behind us. so we can definitely get value for the hand. And I'm going to make a c-bet. Give myself a chance to win the pot right away. And they both fold. Table 2, we have 2 pairs and a small flush draw. And table 1, I'm folding my small wrap. Oh, we win the pot. Wow. With pretty bad hand. Soul sweep. I'm going to call him. Because if I had full house, I'm probably going to just call. Ace is not a good card. Because if he doesn't have something on the flop, he has a lot of aces in his hand. And now he barrels the turn. And I honestly think that most of the time this is for value. So I'm just going to give up. And he had double flush draw with the king, so probably he's ahead of us in equity. I don't ever use stop loss. But of course if I'm losing, I'm always trying to consider the situation, and if I find that emotions are affecting my decisions, then I at least take a short break and re-evaluate my situation. Here we have pocket tens, but it's four-way pot, and we have position, so we have huge implied odds. Of course we don't hit the board, so stop loss is if you have a problem with tilting and you know that after you lose some amount of the money you're going to play your B and C game, or probably actually you're going to play your C game, you know you're going to play bad if you lose some of the money, then stop loss is a good way to prevent those damages. But it's not the cure. It's just a way to minimize the damage. But what you should do is to focus on the problem itself, and it's tilting. You don't have to tilt. You can learn to not to tilt. So don't focus on the outcome and the symptoms. You have to focus on the cause of those. So I'm trying to monitor myself through the decisions, and often there are some warning signs, like when I start to think that, oh, I'm going to 3-bet that motherfucker, then it's a sign for me that okay, that decision was based on feeling, it's based on anger, not the hand strength or the situation. So it's time to take a break and then see how do I feel. And now Gallen is in his local bar in cutoff. There's a lot of limps and he has dry aces. Well, the thing is that it depends. If the players are kind of players that don't get crazy post-flop with semi-bluffs and that sort of, which often is the case if they limp. So if they are passive post-flop, I would always open aces in position. If you hit the set, you can more value, and on a lot of boards you can bet for value. On a lot of boards you can just take the showdown and you are going to be winner at the showdown often. Just with the strong hands, I think it's better to just open them. He called 3, but shouldn't have a lot of on this board. And he folds. Here we have top 2 against open. I'm going to check call the river. If he has a missed flush draw, he might bet it. Of course, now we are afraid of king queen, but he shouldn't have those often. And he has turn set. Wow. One of those days. You just don't hit a lot and people make really, really strong hands. Probably queen and 7 are the only cards that he can get value from us. There was 1 queen on the deck. Unless something funny happens in the last half hour, we might not have a winning session today because we haven't won any big pots so far. Smallish 3 bet from active player, but the hand is really garbage, so just call here. No reason to 4 bet. And he checks. Wow. I have to bet if he bet folds. Yeah, and he has a strong hand. Tries to be tricky. I'm going to make a note. So now I know he can check raise those. So I don't have to fall into the same trap twice. Today, these sort of bad players have made a lot of plays that we have fallen into. We have gave them a lot of value, but as I'm making notes, now I know that after his 3-bet, on those boards that hit his 3-bet range a lot, he actually check raises a lot, so I'm not going to bluff when he checks. I'm going to take the free cards. So although we have lost some money today, but we have got some notes on those players which might make a lot more money for us in the later. Here I'm going to 3-bet him. It's not bad hand, but he's tied 1. He's not going to do anything crazy. And we actually make the set too bad. There's ace on the board. Hard to get value. But he shouldn't have aces ever. I was wondering why do we have only €8, but it's PLO4. Oh, I'm going to keep this table. I might move it to outside, so I'm going to put all PLO10s. And I'm going to keep the PLO4 here on the outside and show it to you if something funny happens. Kobu Japan, through the stats, very regularish player. Let's see if he does something funny here. And he makes a small raise. Now the thing is that I can shove. I think he might raise me a lot of times here. So I'm going to call and give him an opportunity. Or actually I'm not. I'm going to make a really small raise back and hope he shoves. We have 2 overs, so we are definitely getting in. Now the thing is that when he calls, he has full house trips or flush draw with overpair or something like that. Flush completes, queen comes. There's not much we can actually beat here. And if he has a better hand, he's never folding it. And he has only open ender, wow. Just couldn't fold it. I think his raise on the flop is, I'm actually going to make a note. Raise is, where's the small on. So now I know that he knows that he can raise those paired boards. Maybe he has watched some of my videos or read some of my forum posts. But he knows he can raise those boards. So the thing how we adjust is that we widen our check range. Check range. How much value do I see from notes in small stake games? In PLO, the player pool is a lot smaller than in Hold'em. In Hold'em, there's a huge amount of players, but like here in microgame, in PLO10, we have 5 tables running now on one of the best playing times evenings. So you will see, even from the recreational players, you will play with them a lot of times. And even one note, it doesn't matter how small the note is, even one note might be super valuable. So definitely, I'm going to check call the river. So he can bet his misdraws. Shouldn't have straights often. But no, he just checks. What he had, 9 high flush draw, oh, and bottom cut shot. So even a small note like here, he don't set in a multi-way pot. Recreational players are slaves to their habits. They are going to do the same stuff over and over again, especially if it's worked one time. So if I know what he donks with, then I can adjust. Or some recreational player, I know he's not folding 2 pairs no matter what I represent. So if he calls the turn, I can bet big on the river. I know he's going to call me anyway. So well, it's a bad spot for him to bluff with his open ender. Because the thing is that when I re-raise the flop, I'm doing it for bluff or I has something. And on the turn flush completes, all he can beat is total air. But so often I'm just going to call him. So I think what I would have done, I would have folded to the re-raise. Because my range is just crushing him. He might be throwing dead. So now when he doesn't hit the open ender, it's good for him. Because if he hits the open ender, I hit full house, he's going to lose a lot of money. Because it's hard for him to fold if he calls my re-raise with the draw. Here we can get the money in with aces. Whatever the flop is we're subbing now, we actually have the cut shot. And he has cut shot. And he doesn't make the straight. It looked pretty scary for a while. I don't like his 4-bet with pocket 8s. 16-11, tight player. I'm not 3-bet folding ever. And against my range, pocket 8s is just bad. Here we have middle pair and second nut flush draw. I'm going to check back here. Because if I bet someone raises, I have to fold. We pick up the cut shot. And against half a pot, if we think our cut shot and flush draw is alive, 9 might be a good one. We have more than enough equity. Now the problem is this macaroni guy. But with second nuts, I'm bet folding the river. If they have jack high flush, they are going to call. Might have 7 high flush. And if someone raises me on the river, then I'm just folding. It's actually one leak that a lot of players have, especially at micros. They don't want to bet fold rivers. So unless they have a hand that they are happy to stack off on the river, they are just checking back. And they are missing a lot of value when they don't bet fold. Like with second nut flush, always bet fold the river. Don't be afraid of the nut flush. Yeah, there's going to be nut flush some of the time, but more than enough there's going to be smaller flushes. Turn check does not cap my range. In what hand? You mean the hand here? Actually it doesn't. Because let's say I have the turn is queen. Let's say I have 7 queen or even pocket queens. Well, pocket queens I would bet, but if I have 7 queen, it's unlikely that my opponent has a 7-6 or even 7 with the high kicker. So when I make the full house on the turn, it's hard to get value for 2 streets. It's hard to get value for turn and river bets. So I'm probably going to get value for 1 street then, because I have one of the 7s in my hand. Which means that then I have to decide, do I get more value on the turn or on the river? So I might check back the turn. I don't have to protect my hand and give him an opportunity to bluff me on the river. Or make a bet on the river and his calling range is wider because he thinks that when I check the turn I might have bluff in my range. But if I have pocket queens, then I might probably bet the turn for half a pot, because then he has more 7s in his range. When the board is locked, like there, if I have 7 queen, I am only afraid of ace or king on the river, and if he has ace 7, he's probably shoving the flop. So I pretty much have the nuts, and I don't have to protect my hand. So then when I check the turn, it doesn't necessarily have my range. But it applies only to when the board is locked down. When the board is alive, like Jack 10, 6, 7, if there's no flush draw, or even with the flush draw, then if I check the turn, it caps my range, because whatever I have, I should protect it. We open nice hand, but we flop only a cut shot against 2 people. Macaroni. Well, they are so tight that I'm going to actually see bet, because I should have folding equity. And if they call with pair, I have a lot of overcards. I have the cut shot, so it's not the end of the world. And neither one of them is probably going to raise me as a bluff on that board in 3-way pot. Oh, we actually won 200 pp pot on table 2 with the aces. Here, Pista Papa, 3 bets. We know that he is an aggressive player, but pocket queens, even double suited, it's not going to flop good enough, often enough. So if I have an overpair with the flush draw, I'm not happy to get it in. He might have higher pair with higher flush draw. So I'm actually folding double suited queens to a 3-bet out of position. And here we flop nothing. We pick up the cut shot, but probably one of them is going to bet. Of course, there's wheel completing, so they might check some ace. And we get a free river. No. Fold, fold, fold. Aces. Oh, I so wished that he would have opened and we make the small 3-bet once again. See if he spews out second time. That would be nice. Doesn't raise, folds a lot, definitely c-bet here. He calls and turn is total blank, so I think we can definitely bet turn for value. He has a lot of draws in his range. Now he just folds, which is really strange, but that's why we bet the turn. The way to make money out of these VPIB 95 or 91 guy actually is to make thin value bets on flop and turn. Of course we value bet all the strong hands, but against these passive calling stations, we make money on flop and turn most of them. On the river, they are just folding a lot of hands, or they are not calling big bets anyway. I have said it earlier that we have 4 different types of poker players. We can use 4 categories. They are pre-flop either loose or tight, and they are either aggressive or passive. So when we mix those 2 different styles, we can loose passive, loose aggressive, tight passive, and tight aggressive, which means maniacs, nits, calling stations, and normal thinking players, tight aggressive players. And against each 4, we make money in different way, and that's really important. It might seem that, yeah, that's no-brainer, but how often you think on the table that, okay, my opponent is 80 and 10, how do I make money against this Mustang? Okay, here we have Pista Papa 24-20, how do I make money against this guy? Where does my edge come from? And so on. Always know where your money comes from. Because against aggressive players we make money in a totally different way than against tight aggressive or loose passive, or even against the nits. The outside PLO4 table all the fishes have left the table, so I'm going to close it. Premium aces, nice. Let's see if we can get any action. Yes, we do, and we flop funny stuff, and he donks for a pot. Definitely we can call with our flush draw, because he's going to give us value. And we make this. We actually have the nuts because there's no straight flush possibly, and he bets half a pot. Now do I get, I need to raise here if he has a set. And he calls, and now when the river doesn't pair, we can relieve. And now he has a bluff catcher or straight, and I don't think he calls us with the straights. He probably has a set, so let's hope he catches it. And he folds. Might be set of kings, might be the straight and the set of kings. Interesting spot on table 4. Let's see how he bets, and I'm going to make a small raise against him because he knows I'm going to raise with, and he folds. Boo. I have to send him a message after the coaching to the Skype that you need. Impact point is honest one. His money comes from the bank and goes to the better players. That's good. Here on table 1, I actually bet my wrap for value, and when I don't hit it on the turn, I'm not barreling him. Board is so dry that when he calls, he probably has a jack. If I had hit the straight, I would value bet turn river most of the time. But now I just draw free, and I don't make it. So I'm just going to fold. Here we have top pair and over pair and cut shot. I'm going to... I don't have any nut outs. I was still thinking about calling and then donking any flush turns, but the problem is we have so sweep behind, and I don't have any nut outs that I can actually value bet on the turn, so I think folding might be fine. He has raised c-bet 1 out of 3 times, but it's only one raise, so although the HUD shows 33, it means still that he has made raise only one time. I'm going to complete here on table 3. Now all the tables are dying. Oh, there's one PLO10, I'm going to change it. I'm going to close this table 4. Not much value against these guys. Here we flop 2 pairs and open-ender. Let's see what happens. I think we can bet. Of course, if someone check raises, it kind of sucks. We could have drawn our straight, but if we win the pot right here, it's quite good for us. Here calls, we make the straight. He definitely has aces, probably with the flush draw. Oh, he had the nuts on the turn and slow played me. Well. He doesn't have queens. Oh, fuck. Oh, he had queens. I got lucky there. Because I thought about he shouldn't have 10. He would never take that tricky line with 10 and miss value. So he would bet the 10. So the only hand beats me is pocket queens. So as I don't think he has a lot of queens in his 3-bet range, if I had more time, I'm probably going to shove over him. But now I'm lucky that I sat out, or timed out, saved for 12 euros. He got really lucky there. But that has been the game today. Opponents hit 2 and 4 outers on the turn. We have around 10 minutes left. Let's see what happens here in the end. On demo 3 we have nothing, but we should have some folding equity, and we have position so we can barrel turns, and when he raises he probably has king 9 or better. Here we have middle pair, really draw heavy board. I'm just making a small c-bet. I don't have to be balanced, so I'm making a small c-bet to make him fold his air. VPIP 91, there's no reason for us to be balanced. And must and min opens, and I don't want to 3-bet pocket jack, so I'm just going to call and see the flop. And then we can value bet the turn with top pair. And he just gives up. Here on level 1 we hit middle pair with open ender against somewhat call happy player. I'm actually going to bet this. And here I'm going to make a c-bet on ace high board. We make the straight but the flush completes. I'm going to check. And now the river pairs, it goes even worse. It's like, this happens so often in PLO. On a flop, we have strong hand. Let's say we have Jack 10 or something. Turn is the worst card on the deck and the river is the second worst. When he calls the flop, the only hand we beat is some sort of Jack 10 type of hand. And I think a lot of times he has either the flush or probably not full house, but he has the flush often there. Of course, the river aggression is quite high. Here I'm going to value bet the turn. Because the 4 is total brick. And he probably has the flush. Oh, just an ace with the wrap. Wow. I would have raised it on the flop. But it's nice that people don't play aggressive. I'm actually going to make a note that probably raises only strong made hands. Because when he doesn't raise top pair and 13 out of wrap to the nuts, it's probably only raises with made hands. And it's always nice to know, because when he raises, if we can narrow down his range, we can make a lot better decisions. Flush draw and a cut shot, and we don't hit anything. Here he donks for half, but I'm going to call with my trips. And now we actually have the second nuts on the turn. I'm going to call and give him an opportunity to bet me on the river. And I'm going to get it all in. If he has 6 queen or 6 8 or 6 or whatever, the only hand we're going to lose is pocket queens. And it's kind of unlucky if he has it. And when he thinks he doesn't have it. Unless he's dancing. And he folds. So he triple barreled me with the bluff. Here on table 1, I'm not even c-betting my aces because I totally missed the board, and it's kind of hard to miss this board by all 3 players. And my hand is not going to improve a lot. So it's just waste of money to c-bet against 3 players here. And we actually make the nuts on the river. Yeah, it's the nuts. There's no straight possibility. I'm going to pot it. Because if someone has 2 pairs or better, they're going to, if they don't have ace king or better, they are just going to fold. So I'm just potting it in case someone has something. But when it goes check flop, check turn, no one probably has anything. Here we have middle pair, but an aggressive player. Get a free turn. Turn improves our hand. Now when he bets, we just, oh, he checks. Then I'm going to bet for sure. 3 pairs on the flop. Here we have the cut shot and the overpair against draw happy player. Oh, he had open ender and flush draw and top pair on the turn. So he was 60-40 favorite over our 2 pairs. Turn completes the straight and he's really passive. So yeah, he has the straight. If he checks, he has the flush draw. Clock is 11, so it's pretty much time to close the session. We don't have the HUD over him, so I'm going to just c-bet. And he folds, which is nice. And now if we want to make an estimation, did we even make profit today or not? Now it's time. I have no idea. Because after we lost some pots, we have 240 BBs here, 180, 150. And there was some winnings on the tables we have just closed. So I have no idea if we are having a losing session or not. My estimation is probably 1 or 2 buy-ins down. No idea. It's always interesting to see how did we do. And I have said it earlier, normally if you're playing you shouldn't be too concerned about your winnings or losings. Just try to make good decisions and don't worry about results of one session. But here when we are playing with crowdfunded bankroll with only 15 buy-ins or so, we are considered about the winnings because it's entertainment. It's like watching televised poker. No one cares for the small pots. No matter how interesting they are, people want to see big pots. Here we have the cut shot and the flush draw, but nothing more. I'm going to check back. This number monster actually raises c-bets 3 out of 10, so let's take a free turn. And it gives us a big wrap. And when he bets, we can definitely call. And see what happens. And turn is a brick. And we don't... Wow. I don't think there's any idea of raising, because we shouldn't have 4 houses in our range. So I'm just going to fold to that mini bet. Here we get 3 bet from Elinas. Let's see what happens. And I'm going to... And when we miss the flop, he c-bets and we fold. Yep. Impact point says it's minus 14 euros. Ding 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 ding. Let's see for the last hands. Do-do-do-do. And we sit out in here, and can we play one more hand here? Yeah. Last hand. Let's see what happens. Can we get some huge action for the last hand? I don't know what he's thinking of. And on the last seconds he decided to call. We missed the board, so we are probably not getting profit for this hand unless we see the turn, and the turn is, I don't know, queen. But no. Oh, one more, but total garbage. Here are the results. Can I make this bigger? Minus 26.84 euros. So it's around, I don't know how much is it, 21, 22 euros in EV, because are $7. So it's actually probably 20 euros in losses in EV. Of course, real losses is 26.74. The graph is here, so not much going on. As we see here, boom, 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 lost 3 stacks, almost back-to-back hands. It was the, what was his name? Donkey Champion or whatever he was, just hitting everything. We had some interesting spots, but nothing that big. Like here we see we have only one $10 pot from the opponents. Here are 2 smaller ones, but this was the only big pot. It was the aces versus some crap. So one of those sessions when we don't really hit a lot of hands and opponents just hit like the south sweep, hitting the 4 outer on the turn with his pocket kings and queens and so on. But maybe next week we will have a nice upswing. Thanks everyone. On Friday, day after tomorrow, we have the Finnish PLO evening, and on the next week we have the normal English PLO evening. If you have any topics in your mind that you want to discuss about or want to hear about, just use the forums. Probably anything you have requested so far have been discussed in the coachings, so feel free to ask. You can even post some hand histories if you want me to go through them on live coaching and get an opinion from the other players in the chat or whatever. Totally free for almost anything. Thanks for the evening, and now let's go to continue our Wednesday evening. This was PokerRaiMania.com, the best community in the internet. Now have a good night. Bye bye.